Hello and welcome, everyone. My name is Mark, a trainer here at WEX Field Service Management, and today we're covering payments, collections, and follow-ups. This webinar will cover payments from the customer page, process payment versus record payment, credits and refunds, payment with an invoice, payment without an invoice, like your unapplied payments, stored payment methods, customer payment settings, customer status, taking payment on an invoice, and then we'll look at some lists and reports, the receivable report, payment list, transactions, and statements. We'll do a live Q&A at the end so you can get your questions answered live on stream. And without further ado, let's dive into WEX FSM. The first thing we're going to look at is taking a payment from the customer page. Maybe you're in the office, you're working, customer gives you a call. Maybe you're looking at a check on your desk that you need to take a payment for in your system. The first thing you'll do is go to the customer page. So we're just going to type my customer, Justin Hernandez, and go to his customer page. When you are on a customer page, every customer page has a payments tab. So go ahead and click on the payments tab. And there are three different types of payments. We have process payment, record payment, and then, technically not a payment, but you can add a credit or refund a payment from here. First, let's take a look at processing a payment. We do have someone else joining. Welcome, Jennifer. We are recording today's session, so you will be able to watch a replay of this to get what you may have missed, but we are just getting started. First thing we did is we just searched for a customer and went to the customer page and clicked on payments. But welcome, Jennifer. So process payment. Let's talk about processing payments. We'll click on process payment. And hi, Jennifer. And from here, we have first, you will be able to select which invoice you would like to process a payment for. And also, what is up, Ruby? Welcome back. Welcome back. Ruby, you already know the drill. We record all of our sessions if you want to watch a replay, and we have just gotten started. He is a repeat offender. All right, I guess everybody's just showing up a little late today. We have more joining. There we go. There we go. And hello, Adrian, as well. No, you're good, Ruby. You're good. Adrian, just to let you know, we are recording today's session, so you'll be able to watch a replay of this to capture anything you may have missed. But we have just gotten started here. But welcome, Adrian. All right, let us continue. So when processing a payment, first, which invoice do you want to take a payment on? This will show you all of your invoices in your system. You can either select one or multiple. Maybe someone has sent you a check to pay for their last, 3 jobs you've done for them, and you can select multiple and just make process a payment on those invoices. You will select the invoices, and then down below, it'll show you the total of all invoices. And then we have some payment options here. You can enter card information. If you're using credit or debit cards, those will process through WEX FSM and send the money to your bank account. That does get sent in batches per day. And the batches are typically funded by the next business day. And the batch processing time is, or the batch processing cutoff is 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you are processing payments throughout the whole day. We hit 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That cuts off that batch. It will process through the night and be in your account the next business day. You also can add bank account information, like using a check to add their banking account number and do like an ACH payment. For ACH and check payments, those are typically funded within 2 business days, and the batch cutoff is 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So as you're taking payments with check throughout the day, the cutoff for that, 7 p.m. That will batch for 2 days and be available in your account after those 2 business days. And then we have stored. This customer does not have any stored payment methods on here, so that is grayed out. But if they do have stored account info, which I will show you how to do in just a bit, that will show up here. And for stored accounts, that's basically you adding either card information or banking information. It stores securely on their account, and then you can use that to make payments in the future. Maybe the customer is like, I forget to pay all the time. Why don't you guys just put my card on file and charge me when you need to? And that option is available through stored if you have a stored payment method. So that is processing a payment. Next is recording a payment. So for record payment, that's if you're going to process outside of WEX FSM. The money is not sent to your bank account. It will be processed through whatever you're using. A good example of this is if someone's paying with cash. You'll still need to take that cash to the bank to get it into your account, but you want to record that that payment was made. So you would use record payment. And it's the same options here. You would select the invoices you want to pay, but then you will enter the payment method. If it's a check, you'll enter the check number. Maybe you're processing through like PayPal or some other processing. You would then select, let's say, the card that they are using. Whatever it is, you'll enter that info here. You'll enter the date, and then you'll select record payment. And then we have add credit or refund. You have 3 options here. You can credit and refund at the same time, credit only, and refund only. When you offer a credit, the credit will either be applied naturally. So if I click on credit only, you can choose a invoice to add a credit to. Maybe you want to add, $20 off to an invoice that's pre-existing. You would select the invoice, add the credit, and then that will subtract that amount from the balance, and you'll be able to see that on the invoice. Actually, when you open the invoice, you'll see the line item that has the credit. And you can also credit without an invoice. Let's say you just want to add a credit to the customer's account. You'll hit credit without invoice. Let's say you're just going to throw, $100 on their account that they can apply to a future service. Select the income account if you are syncing to QuickBooks, and then hit apply credit. Now, since we applied this without an invoice, this is then saved in this yellow drop-down section here. This is your unapplied payments and credits section. And so from here, we can see here is that $100 credit that we created. And now let's say that we have just done a job with them and they want to use their credit for that. You would just click to the unapplied credit section, click edit, and then apply credit to invoice. Select the invoice that you want this to apply to. And then we can see that credit is for $100. The balance of the invoice is $100. So that will now be 0. And then from here, Oh, I think maybe we need to add this. Yes. So my apologies. From you do need to add the credit amount that you want to apply into here. So if we're applying the whole amount, you would just enter the whole amount. Now we are going to be able to show the credit is applying, uh, and you just hit save, and that will show on the invoice that you apply it to. Let me just check my notes here quickly before we go. Excellent. Okay. So next, let's look at storing customer payment methods. So down below, we have stored accounts. We are PCI compliant. It is very secure to add your customer's account information into here. You can add either a bank account or a card. This is great. Kind of two main scenarios I'm seeing this used. One is for recurring payment plans for maintenance plans. You can sign a customer up for a maintenance plan, choose the payment option recurring payment, and if you do that, then you will probably want to store that card information on file so it will be a recurring revenue for you. That payment information is then saved here, and you can use that for paying for other jobs as well. And then another use case is you just have a customer who is like, I just want to put a card on file, and then you can charge me whenever I need to. I'm a busy person. So this is where you add the stored payment amounts here. All right. So next is payment without an invoice. So if you want to take a payment, the scenario would be you're on the phone with the customer, they are ready to pay you right now, but you haven't drafted up the invoice yet. You don't want the customer to have to sit on the phone, especially when they're trying to give you money and make them wait while you're building out an invoice. So you can take the payment unapplied and apply it later. And so to do this, we will record a payment. And then right here it says payment without invoice. And let's say we just want, uh, let's keep it simple, $100. And I'm on the phone with the customer. They are ready to pay. This also will work with process payment, but this is a test account, so we can't fully get through processing because that's real money when you process. But payment without invoice. Let's say they are paying cash today and record payment. You will just simply select record payment. So we have officially taken the payment from the customer. So on the customer's end, they've made their payment. But that will save here in this yellow section. And I do have a couple others. I was testing this earlier just to make sure I refreshed what I was talking about. But here it is. Here's that $100 cash payment. And this now needs to be assigned to an invoice to finalize that payment. A couple scenarios, maybe you are building this before you apply it. So here, if I hit edit payment, you can reassign the payment by clicking here. If you already have an invoice that maybe your technician made the invoice later and now it's ready and you can apply it just by finding it here. You can search by invoice number if you have a long list that you need to search through. But if not, then you will need to go and build out that invoice and then come back to here to assign that to that invoice. But this is how you would do that. We would just apply this. Let's see, invoice 13458. Or wait, yeah, 458. And here we go. So we will select the $100 invoice. We have our payment without invoice. And what we want to do, we don't want an additional payment without an invoice. We want to apply that. So the original payment was $100. The total payment was $100. We're paying for this $100 invoice, and then we will hit save. And there we go. That cash payment has now been applied to that invoice. Next, let's take a look at customer payment settings. So each customer that you have on each customer page, if you scroll down on the left side, we have settings and preferences. You can choose accepted payment methods. Probably for everyone, you're going to set it to all. We're not trying to restrict people paying us or the method that they want to pay. But in case you do, if there's a scenario where maybe you only want to receive debit or credit payments from this customer, if debit or credit is selected, they will not be able to make a ACH or check payment. So you can set that to your preferences. And then what do you want the default payment terms to be? Now, usually by default, when I create my proposals and invoices, they're going to take on the defaults that are set in my, invoice and proposal settings. You can override this per customer. Maybe this is a commercial customer that every time you're going to do a net 60. So then you can set that here. When I create a invoice for this customer, it will auto apply and change the payment terms to net 60. Make sure you hit save. Any adjustments that you're making here, you will want to hit save. All right. And then now customer status is at the top. So let's scroll up. Each customer page will allow you to change their status. Now, usually all your customers, they're active, they're good to go. You're trying to do business with them. However, maybe you want to put them on hold. Customer doesn't pay, you're trying to collect from them, they still don't pay, and then they call you again and they want another service, but they never paid you for the first one. There could be a scenario where they call someone in the office who doesn't realize that they have a balance that you've been trying to collect on, and now they get scheduled. Someone goes out there and does the job. Meanwhile, the person who scheduled it was unaware. So you can put accounts on hold. You would simply select account on hold. You'll still be able to look and view and see everything that's on here. You can take payments, but it will prevent scheduling. So if you try to schedule an account that's on hold, it will let you know, hey, this account is on hold. That way, you're not going out and doing extra work for someone who is not paying you. Then, they settle up, they're good to go. You just come back to here and set it back to active. All right. So you can take payments from the customer page. That's what we went over here. But you can also take payments directly from our interactive invoice. And there's a couple payment options there that we're going to take a look at. So to do this, you will want to go to an invoice. You can go to your timeline. You can just search for the job that has the invoice that you want to take payment on. You can quickly search. If you click this drop down here, you can actually look at all of your invoices at once. But any way that you want, there's many different ways, get to an invoice. I already have an invoice pulled up here. And once you are in the build mode for the invoice, you can scroll down. These options are available in the present mode too. And you have the same options that you have from the customer page that we went over earlier. Pay now is the same as process payment. Like this is process payment. So you select pay now, that will process through WEX FSM and send the money to your bank account at the batch intervals that we talked about earlier. Record payment is if you are not processing through WEX FSM, you're processing outside, like taking cash payments. And then send, and this is unique here. If you want to send this to the customer, they will be able to make a payment online. And so let's click send. You'll select who you want to send this to. You can add additional recipients if you want. If you want to send via text and email for the same customer, you would just select them twice. And once you have who you want this to be sent to, you will send the invoice. Now, when they receive the invoice, I'm just clicking on View PDF in the bottom left there. You will be able to see what your customer will see. So they'll see a PDF invoice in this style, and they'll have a nice big red Make Payment button. They review the invoice, looks good, they're ready to take payment. They'll tap Make Payment, enter their payment information, and just make a payment online. That payment will take the same rules as process payment. So if a customer pays online, like at their house, that money will be sent to your bank account within the batches of processed payments throughout the day. So those are some options for payments from an interactive invoice. Next, let's take a look at collections. And so we we know we can take payments. We know that we can collect on those payments either from the customer page or from an invoice. But what if we want to look at all of our payments in bulk? To do this, we will go to Jobs, Payment List. That brings you to the payment list page. And this is exactly what it says. It's a big list of all your payments in your system. You can filter by date range, payment type, payment method. Maybe you want to look at all your checks back to back. Payment status, and then customer name, payer name, and amount are some additional searches you can do here. Any filters that you add into here will update the information you see below, and then you can actually download those results as an Excel file or as a PDF file if needed. You can also view the auto sync status. So if you are syncing to QuickBooks, when a customer makes a payment, it is first entered into WEX FSM, then that will sync down to your QuickBooks. If the sync is happening correctly, it will be in a ready state, and then it will go into a syncing state. And then once it is done syncing, it will say synced in the auto sync status. And then if you open your QuickBooks, you will see that payment in your QuickBooks. If for any reason you're in your QuickBooks, you know there was a payment made, but you don't see it in QuickBooks, this is where I would go first to check. Search for the payment, look for it, and look at the auto sync status. Maybe there's a piece of information that's missing, and you'll need to just simply click, add the info, and be able to update it from there. You can also click the three dots here. You can edit the payment, change customer, refund, and delete payment right from here without having to go to the customer page. So that is the payment list. Next, let's talk about collections through the receivables report. So we're going to go to reporting in the main navigation. You just click on reporting. And from the reporting page, we'll want to go to receivables in the accounting section. This might be my favorite report because it's about getting the money. So if people owe you money, this is a great place to go to collect on those invoices. Now, this is showing you an entire list of all invoices in your system. You can search by date range. What's nice is as you're updating these filters, you have filtered totals here. So maybe I want to see how much money is out there in the world that customers owe us from last month to today. So I'll select December 1st to January 14th. That way I know my invoices that are showing here are within the date range I want. And then I want to know which of these are overdue. So I'm going to click payment status and select overdue. Overdue just means it is past the due date that is on the invoice. And so now I can see I have $52,000, plus that is out there that we need to collect on. They are all overdue invoices. I can see those here and all the information for them. If I want to quickly view one of these, I click on the PDF icon, which will allow me to just a quick view of what the invoice is if I want to refresh myself on it or even use it while I'm talking to the customer. And from here, you can select all and send invoices. This will send out a payment reminder to those customers. And it's really nice when you send a bunch of payment reminders in bulk and a ton of people pay their bill all at one time. And that can certainly help you with your collection efforts, making sure people are paying their bills. Next, let's take a look at transactions and statements. So we're going to go to payment options, activity, transactions. The transactions page, this is showing all processed payments in your system. So this is the money that's coming in and being sent to your bank account. Sometimes it's just nice to look at all of those processed transactions. You can see payments that are pending, recurring payments, ones that you've manually entered. Is it settled one time, stored account? So you can turn these on and off as filters. And then once you get the filter organization here that you want, you just hit refresh and it will update the information below. Now, this is a test account, so we don't actually process real payments in here. So this list is empty here. But for you, you'll be running real payments through your system. So you'll be able to see the date, the status, the amount, who it's from, the payment method, the type, and the invoice number. And invoice numbers are clickable. So you can, if you're looking at a payment, you can click into the invoice and see what is on the invoice. And then we want statements. So to get to statements, we will go to payment options, activity, statements. And there are two areas for statements here. There is processing statements and WEX Field Service Management statements. Now, the processing statements, so when you process a card payment, for example, there is a processing fee. The processing fee is the charge from WEX FSM for you to process, just like any payment provider. If you want to see those processing statements, this is where you would go. So you have your monthly subscription, which would be your WEX Field Service Management statement, which is going to show you just a statement for your normal bill, your monthly subscription you are paying for. And these are your statements, and they will populate per month. And then the processing statements are also monthly, and that will give you a view into any payments you have processed and show you the processing fees monthly. So this is where you find your statements. All right, the last topic we're going to go over is some user permissions, just to make sure everyone on your team has the ability to take the payments when you want them to. And then we'll dive into our Q&A. So if you do have any questions, go ahead and get those ready. The last area we're going to go to is settings, user management, users. That brings you to the users page. Each user has their own payment permissions. And we're going to use my good buddy Dustin Bailey, my field technician, as an example. On each user page, you will scroll down to permissions. And then the ones that refer specifically to payments is right here. Do you want this user to be able to manually enter cards, perform credits and voids, manage recurring payments, and perform financing actions? If, let's say, you have a field technician and he calls you in the office and says, "Hey, I'm trying to take payment and it won't let me. I'm not sure what's going on." This would be the first place I would go to. If, manual enter cards is set to no, they can't take that payment. They can't manually enter cards. So if you want them to make payments, go ahead and do that. Or make sure that those permissions are set here to allow it. Any changes that you make, you will want to hit save just to make sure that those are actually saved. All right, so that is all the information that we have for today's presentation. We're going to move to our Q&A now, but I just want to say thanks so much for joining. My name is Mark with WEX Field Service Management, and this has been Payments, Collections, and Follow-Ups.